Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Monday, the 26th day of August 2024, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on our roads, we urge you to please be extremely cautious, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle. Remember, observe the rules of the road. The life you save may just be your own. Now, the rules of the road, they're basically static. They're there. The landscape of the roads may change somewhat. You may encounter a new roundabout, a new intersection that you didn't see before. If you're driving in the Savannah area and you're heading into town, you will find that by the Rubis gas station opposite Countryside, that has now been broken down into one lane because a turning lane into the Savannah Post Office has been created as well. And so you want to be extremely observant and familiarize yourself with the contours of that piece of road as it has been reconstructed or redesigned as well. So you want to be extremely careful with that. I want to say it's great to be back behind the mic. Had a peaceful vacation, very restful. Got some downtime. And I want to say I'm extremely thankful for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Banks sitting in for me and hosting. And pardon the pun, but he did a sterling job. Sterling did a sterling job, as usual on the show, as well. So I want to thank him. I want to thank Dr. Steve Macfield for being here with him and all of the other guests that he had, and the tremendous amount of support that he received from the audience as well. And I have to confess that every morning I listened to Radio Cayman, of course, my favorite radio station. And despite the social media platforms and everything else, I like to follow my news coming from Radio Cayman. And I did listen to Sterling on For the Record, as well as Talk Today every day as well. So again, thank you, Mrs. Sterling, Dwayne Banks. Thank you for a guest hosting, for me, and thanks to all of our listeners who supported him in my absence as well. So we hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Again, those of you who are on our roads, please, please, please be extremely cautious, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we want to wish you a speedy recovery as well. And I just want to say, you would have heard on the death announcements the mention of Mr. Edward Ned Solomon, his unfortunate passing. And over the years, if you've been listening to me here on For the Record, both Ned and I were born in the same year, actually the same month. I'm on the 5th of February, he on the 13th of February. We grew up together, great friends, Alan Haha Moore, Ned Solomon, and myself. And we had some really, really good times. There were some times when we argued, like the time when we were bringing the sailboat down from the area of the Holiday Inn. I think Mike Simmons and Mark Powell had given us this sunfish. Was it a sunfish? No, I think it was bigger than a sunfish. But it had a mast on it, and we were trying to get the mast down to transport it on our roads. In those days, you only had one road going into West Bay. This is in the 70s, and only one road going in, coming out of West Bay. And we couldn't get the mast down. And, you know, coming from New York, living there, for several years, and my New York attitude, I said to them, listen, just drive in the middle of the road and all of the traffic behind us will have to wait. And they didn't really agree with that, and we had this big argument. Eventually, we got the boat down to Schoolhouse Road to Miss Marley. That's Ned's mother's late mother, Miss Marley's house. And we went our separate ways because we were all mad with each other. Alan Moore, Ned, and myself. Next morning, got a call from Ned, and he said, guys, you won't believe this. There we are struggling and arguing about getting this mast down. And I found out later that there's a pin on the bottom of the mast that we could have taken that pin out, taken the mast down, and it would have made life so easy. And we all had a big, big laugh about it, and the fact that we were all upset with each other. So Ned will be extremely missed, from her circles. If you were friends with Ned, he always kept in contact with you, extremely religious as well, and always would encourage his friends, close friends. I just want to say, he will be missed as well. Those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated a birthday over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shoutouts. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. So let's look at some of the birthdays. Today, Horatio Esteban. He's celebrating his birthday today. Also, Dwayne Ebanks celebrating his birthday today. Zephyrinius Henry celebrating a birthday today. And also Ellsworth, Mr. Ellsworth Neil celebrating a birthday today. We want to wish him all of those happy birthday. And we see that on tomorrow, Mr. Peter Goff will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, Tuesday the 27th. On Thursday, and I will mention this again on Wednesday, if I'm here, God's willing, Mr. Morgan DaCosta will be celebrating his birthday on Thursday. Mr. Alan Moore's daughter, Katrina Moore, will be celebrating her birthday on Thursday as well. We have to go all the way down in September before we can say happy birthday to Lord Graham and Miss Heather Diane Bawden. My son, Kareem Connor, Mr. Kirk Lee, one of our early breaker riders, and very, very popular travel agent as well, Mr. Kirk Lee. They're all going to be down in September as well. So tomorrow, Mr. Peter Goff, and again, I will repeat, today's birthday celebrants are Mr. Horatio Esteban, Dwayne Ebanks, Zephyranius Henry, and Ellsworth Neal. And again, to remind you that For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support the birthday shoutouts. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. They say you should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. With that, folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. Please stay tuned. No guests in the studio. We were hoping to have someone talking about preparations for school. Unfortunately, they won't be here, so we're going to have the phone lines open when we return. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
In the late 19th century, relations with Nicaragua soared as a result of claims to territorial fishing waters around the Mosquito Banks. At its peak, roughly 30 Caymanian schooners and slopes were harvesting up to 4,000 green and hawksbill turtles each year, valued at approximately half of Caymanian exports. The Nicaraguan government in turn levied a licensing fee against foreign fishers. However, Caymanians refused to comply. In 1883, the schooner Mary Ellen was boarded by armed Nicaraguans, and Captain Ebenezer Jeanette and his crews were brutally assaulted for refusing to comply with the fees. Captain Jeanette was later compensated by the Nicaraguan government, but the British Foreign Office informed Caymanians that they had no territorial claim over the Mosquito Banks, which belong unequivocally to Nicaragua. Relations between Nicaragua and the Cayman Islands would continue to deteriorate as the Nicaraguans increased the licensing fees and methods of payment, culminating in another international showdown when 5 Caymanian vessels were seized and the entire crew subsequently imprisoned. After 6 months of investigation by the British authorities, all crew were released and no fines were levied. It would not be until 1960 that an effective treaty was signed between the two nations.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding pain cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
If you're hearing, then maybe it's time you replace that old appliance. Now until the end of August, you can save 15% on all LG appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. LG washers, dryers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, microwaves, and hoods are all on sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Not only will you save 15%, you also receive a 1-year parts warranty with any LG appliance purchased by the end of August. Only at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. The phone lines are open. Our toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. Also 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp number 925-3261. On that WhatsApp number, we can only accommodate one caller at a time. We have about 8 minutes before we go to our 8 o'clock news. Let's see what I can share with you. Oh, meanwhile, I want to give a big shout out to our Caymanian ambassadors who are located at our airport, Owen Roberts International Airport. They provide such a presence in our airport, that friendly smile, that friendly greeting, that friendly service, if it is required as well. When that idea was germinated and started to grow and bear fruit, whomever came up with that idea, an excellent idea. Good to see Caymanian faces there. Opportunity for those Caymanians who may be retired but want to still be active and have something to do. We know that lots of you still bemoan the fact that when you go to the ticket counters there, especially the foreign carriers, that many of those persons are not necessarily people that we Caymanians will closely identify with. And for those of you who travel, you know that if you're coming back via Miami or maybe even the Tampa area, I'm not sure. I haven't been to Tampa in a while to see what the composition of the counter staff there. But certainly when you get to Miami, you feel like you're back in Cayman as well. Well, there are some people who, when they're leaving the Cayman Islands, don't feel like they wonder whether or not it is the Cayman Island that they're leaving or somewhere else because of that. So it's good to see those Caymanian faces, out there, as well. I was going to share with you the press release, but we do have a caller, so we will take the caller before we go to our 8 o'clock news. We still have 6 minutes left. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning.
Today?
Good morning. I'm fine. It's timely that this call is coming from the BRAC because I'll let you have your say first, and if time will allow, you may want to talk about the developments in the BRAC over the weekend last week with the drug boat coming in there and with one individual still being at large. I know that must be somewhat unsettling for the residents of the BRAC, but you may want to talk about something else, so go right ahead, caller.
Well, actually, you've kind of summed it up for me, but I'd just like to add that the Cayman BRAC community is completely disappointed in the RCIPS and not having enough information publicly provided to them, or even officers come out in the community. I'm not saying we had that time, but nobody is keeping people abreast up here. So we are unaware. I mean, I couldn't even get to sleep last night for the helicopter circling down in my area, which is fine. We are happy to know that you're on it. You're on it. But if you're not informing the public and at least giving them some little inkling of information of what's taking place, so that we can still be assured that our lives aren't going to be in any kind of danger because of an armed escapee roaming the BRAC. That's all I'm saying. The RCIPS has failed the BRAC community tremendously.
But we also have to recognize the fact that depending on what information is given out, that you're also letting the person that you're seeking to apprehend, they may be aware of it, or those persons who are assisting as well. So the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, they have to be extremely cautious in terms of what they do put out there.
Mr. Connor? Hello?
Sure. Go right ahead. I'm listening.
I just want to say I understand that fact of security and safety and all of that, but if the community is still not being given more information, there is information that can be disclosed that does not impede on any giving the assailant or the escapee any information as to the whereabouts or what the plans are.
Could you give me an example?
No, I'm just saying. Okay, for example, the community should be told something to the fact that, okay, we want to update you. The escapee is still at large. However, we have officers there. We're doing this, and we're out into the community. And I must give them credit here. On Saturday, I saw a lot of police activity in the BRAC, and trust me, that was very noticeable simply because the BRAC is a very small community, so you could see it. So if we could see it, then don't you think the escapee could see that the police are out there as well? So information is also critical to those who aren't mobile and on the road seeing the police activity. So an announcement via Radio Cayman just to assure people up here. You know how many elderly people are right now staying in their homes, panicking about this that's going on? Nobody is even going to look at the well-being of them and their mental state right now. What kind of a country are we?
Okay, understood. Well, what I'll do, if and hopefully time will allow, I can do it in 2.5 minutes, is to share with our listeners and those in the BRAC as well the latest update that came out yesterday at 18:33, that would be 6:33 in the evening, about the wanted man remaining outstanding. So if you will allow me, and I want to say to you also, we will have no guests in the studio, so please feel free to call back later on as well. Phone lines will be open all day. Thank you very much, caller. So here's the update, folks. 2 persons arrested for drug offenses. Wanted man remains outstanding, 25th of August. As a result of reports made to the police and other operational activity related to wanted man Siobhan Claude Brown, and I would say to you that they have updated the name, because the name that they gave out in the first instance seemed to be erroneous. So the wanted man's name now is Siobhan Claude Brown. Today, an operation was conducted by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and Customs and Border Control officers at the residence at Fishbowl Loop in the Bluff, Cayman Brac. The occupants of the residence, a man and a woman, were both arrested for possession, consumption, and consumption of a controlled drug. That is ganja. The wanted man was not located and remains outstanding. The community can expect to see further operations as the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and its partners, including CBC and the DOE, continue in their pursuit of Mr. Brown, wanted in connection to the seizure of the drug boat. The police advised the community that a search coordinating command center has been established, and armed police officers from Grand Cayman remain in the BRAC actively searching for the wanted man. Police advise both boat owners to ensure their vessels are secured. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service wishes to thank the BRAC community for its support and all information provided so far in relation to tracking down the wanted man. If anyone knows anything about the whereabouts of Mr. Brown, please contact 911 immediately. One of our listeners has opined and said that maybe what the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service needs to do is what they do in our neighboring country, Jamaica. We now have the name of the person put out an all points bulletin advising that person to turn themselves in, give them a time and a location to turn themselves in, and otherwise to say after that we cannot, since you are armed, we cannot ensure your safety if you do not turn yourself in. We believe, the person says, that will garner some results as well. Folks, with that, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is a minute after 8.
All right, class, pay attention. School is back in session, and it's time to get back to school ready with Foster's.
Foster's is embracing the school spirit with all the essentials like backpacks, stationery, lunch kits, and more.
And online, treat yourself to our blog at livewell.fosters.ky to help kids navigate back to school anxiety and start the school year with confidence.
And any parents hoping to spend more time at home, there's always fresh delivery from Foster's Go.
Think you got all that? We'll test you on it later.
Get ready for a great fresh start with Foster's.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. More details are expected to be released today after police are called to a, quote, sudden death incident at a residential address in East End overnight. Police were called to the scene and held it until later this morning when further investigation will take place. The Premier announces salary increases for assistant teachers as well as principals and their deputies at Friday's annual Educators Welcome for the public school system. As you heard live right here on Radio Cayman, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly told public school educators those increases will hit their September paychecks and will be backdated from August. Other announcements?
Soon, and I hope that soon means by September this year, each government primary school will have a dedicated mathematics teacher on staff. Not an advisor, but an actual mathematics teacher. We have also introduced new digital registration software. The sign-in application in our schools, all of our public schools now. You may have noticed the digital sign-in kiosks when you arrived here this morning. Hopefully they were user-friendly. These kiosks now represent, and I expect them to be utilized in every single government school.
New audiovisual equipment has been approved for Mary Miller Hall, John Gray, Clifton Hunter, and the new Cayman Brac High School set to come online late next year. And new music equipment has been secured for public high schools. In terms of special education needs,
next Friday, as minister, we will be opening the first ever adult training learning center in Cayman Brac, and we use an existing dilapidated building, work with much patience with planning to make sure that we can get it open. That tremendously excites me because for years these special children have been locked away at home, not necessarily because their parents or guardians wanted to, but the facilities weren't there.
In addition, the Premier announced that the business case for expanding Lighthouse School for additional capacity up to 200 students has also been completed. And government ended 2023 with net borrowings of just under $63 million. According to the Cayman Islands Annual Economic Report, real gross domestic product is estimated to have expanded by 4.2% last year. Growth during the year was, quote, broad-based, with most sectors expanding. The ESO says the economic performance for the year was largely driven by the services sector, which accounted for almost 98% of GDP and rose by 4.5%. Actual indicators point to, quote, robust growth in the hotel and restaurant sector, which jumped by more than 34%. Electricity and water supply grew by just under 10%, while the transport, storage, and communication sector saw a 6% increase. The Economics and Statistics Office report says government ended the year with net borrowings of just under $63 million, coming from the total revenue of $1.06 billion, falling below its expected expenditure of $1.12 billion. Despite the excess spending for the period, the annual report says central government's outstanding debt decreased to $453 million at the end of last year. You can find the full report online at eso.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. President Zelensky says Russia has used more than 100 missiles and a similar number of Iranian-made Shahed drones in a huge assault on Ukraine. At least 6 deaths have been reported. Mr. Zelensky said Ukraine and its allies should draw up a joint air defense agreement to ensure Russian weapons could be shot down. Pakistani authorities say 39 people have been killed in the western province of Balochistan. In the deadliest attack, gunmen stopped buses and checked the identity of passengers. Most of their victims were Punjabi. UNICEF says it's taking more than 1 million doses of polio vaccine into Gaza. The UN has appealed for pauses in the fighting to allow for a mass immunisation campaign. The World Health Organization's Africa Committee is meeting regional health ministers in Congo-Brazzaville to address the Mpox crisis. The WHO has been urging more funding and a unified response. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has said laws on weapons ownership will be tightened in the wake of the mass stabbings in Solingen. Speaking during a visit there, Mr. Scholz also called for cuts in irregular migration. That's the latest BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
The mission of the National Conservation Council and the Department of Environment is to ensure our islands consider responsible use of our natural resources while preserving our native species and habitats for future generations. Learn more at conservation.ky.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 76%. The barometric pressure is 29.94 inches and rising. The wind is north at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 77 degrees. Synopsis indicate a surface trough lingers west of the Cayman Islands is expected to produce isolated showers through this evening. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman Islands moving towards the west. The forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will rise to the low 90s with a heat index near 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures falling to the low 80s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet as well. Today's low tide will occur this morning at 9:45, high tide this evening at 5:19, and a low tide again tonight at 11:35. The sun will set this evening at 6:43 and will rise tomorrow morning at 10 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for light winds and seas to continue through the next few days. Afternoon showers are also likely during the daytime, and an increase in cloudiness and shower activity is expected from early Wednesday morning, as another surface trough is expected over the Western Caribbean by that time. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
We were on the edge of a breakthrough. I knew the substance was extraterrestrial, but I didn't realize.
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long, the entire lab exploded, and the radioactive sludge went everywhere. I ended up in the hospital for a few weeks, but I was able to manage everything with the CG online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Before, during, and after a storm, the Water Authority will use all available media channels, including social media, to advise the public of when the water supply is connected and safe to use. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
This is Winston Connolly, and I work in the financial services sector. I'm concerned about the way climate change is affecting our energy sector. Storms can delay fuel imports and damage infrastructure, and heat waves can destabilize the grid. These issues can prevent Caymanians from using their cars, lights, and air conditioning. To learn more about the climate risks to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning. Let's take a look at what's happening traffic-wise. Edward Street is moving on moderately. Steady bit flowing traffic coming off of the Esterly Tibbetts Highway, and steady traffic off of Bobby Thompson Way and continuing on to Huldah Avenue. From the West Bay 4-way stop, traffic is moving along pretty good. Into Georgetown on Shedden Road looking good, and out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, moderate flow of traffic, as well as on Godfrey Nixon Way and Easton Avenue. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions, and traffic flowing pretty good on Owen Roberts Drive. Shamrock Road, moderate flow of traffic in both directions. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Summer's heating up, and so are the good times. Whether you are out on the water, enjoying the beach, or gathering with colleagues for an office bash, make it a feast to remember with Subway. From assorted sandwich platters to mouth-watering cookies, our catering menu has something for everyone. Perfect for groups of 5 or more. For food that's fresh, fast, and perfect for any occasion, choose Subway Catering. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Undetected ear, nose, and throat problems can impede a child's overall progress in school and affect their physical, emotional, and social well-being. Pediatric ENT screening can help safeguard children's well-being and growth. An ENT checkup is a comprehensive examination of the ears, nose, and throat, looking for abnormalities or potential health problems. Untreated ENT problems can lead to recurrent infections, hearing loss, developmental delays, and impaired academic performance. By identifying and addressing these issues promptly, you can ensure better health outcomes and support the overall development of children.
Dress for success and demonstrate school pride by learning and following the National Dress Code Policy and the specific dress code for each government school. Under the National Dress Code Policy, boys' hair must be neatly groomed and of natural color. Uniform shirts must be neatly tucked in, undergarments concealed, sneakers or shoes black, and jewelry limited to a wristwatch. Take pride in your stride today. View the complete dress code policy at www.gov.ky/education. This is a message from the Ministry of Education.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, so the phone lines are open. Our toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. Also 949-8037, 949-6990. Or WhatsApp number 925-3261. Anything that you may wish to talk about, as long as it is fit to be discussed on air, we will certainly listen to you. We will provide commentary, or we may ask some probing questions, as well. Not sure how many of you got the opportunity to listen to remember the title of it, but it was the Education Ministry's welcome to the teachers for the new school term, a new school year, is it? Yeah. And that was extremely exciting. The Premier, Honorable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, also Minister for Education, made some announcements as well in relation to salaries, and I will share that information with you. But the reason that I have brought up the subject has to do more with teacher recruitment. And if, for instance, I had someone from the Ministry of Education in the studio with me this morning, one of the questions that I would be asking would entail whether or not we are having any difficulties in recruiting qualified teachers from overseas. we here in the Cayman Islands, we've had a history, long history of recruiting teachers from the United Kingdom as well as from Jamaica. Now, we see where Jamaican teachers are actively or being actively recruited for other overseas jurisdictions. And now Jamaica is looking into the possibility of hiring teachers from the Philippines, I think Ghana, maybe one of those other countries as well. I think there were 3 countries that had actually been mentioned where they were seeking to recruit. So again, that is a part of the brain drain that we're seeing taking place here in the Caribbean. And because of the attractiveness of other jurisdictions, mainly salary, because we see, for instance, in the United Kingdom, where foreign teachers are not really having such a great experience as they expected. But certainly in the United States, I mean, who would think, for instance, that a southern state like South Carolina would be recruiting teachers from Jamaica? But they do. They do. Why is that? Well, I would attribute some of that to the fact of the changing demographics of the South. If you go a little further south than South Carolina, Georgia, look at the demographics of Georgia. Mexican, people from the Caribbean, mainly Jamaica as well. And what they're attempting to do is to have those students have teachers with whom they can identify with as well. So my question this morning would be, are we having difficulty in the Cayman Islands recruiting teachers, qualified teachers from abroad? And if not, that, of course, is good news for us here in the Cayman Islands. So let's go to the story about the announcement made by the Premier in relation to the new salaries that were approved and should be seen in this month's salary, as well as I believe that something was said about retroactivity of it as well. Here we go. So we're going to use the Cayman Compass article in relation to it. Pay increases for principals, deputies, and assistant teachers. And the article speaks about the fact that principals, deputy principals, and assistant teachers at Cayman's public schools are finally getting the pay raises they have been repeatedly promised to be applied retroactively from August. The educators will see the increase in their September pay packets, and that is according to Premier Juliana O'Connor Connolly and also Minister for Education. She delivered the news at the annual Education Professionals Welcome on Friday, when she and other officials marked the beginning of the new school year with the 1,050 public system educators in Cayman, in the Cayman Islands. Assistant teachers will now be paid a minimum, that is a minimum, no less than, that means, right, of $3,500 per month. And folks, that's CI, not US. Primary school deputy principals will get $7,400. Primary school principals, $8,900. Secondary school deputy principals, also $8,400. And secondary school principals, $9,800. The salary increases, or the salary increase, is the last part of the domino effect, quote-unquote domino effect, started by pay rises for teachers that the Premier first announced in 2017. At that time, she's quoted as saying that she wanted to see teachers paid at least $5,000 a month, which was eventually implemented a couple of years later. In subsequent years, she mentioned that she hoped this would have a knock-on effect on the salaries of other educators, but that did not happen until this year when the Premier said funds had been found. With a general election on the horizon, this is now the Compass's article, so they're getting into the political part of things. With a general election on the horizon expected in April of 2025, O'Connor said she was leaving next year and wanted to ensure that her promise of a pay rise for those educators would be fulfilled. I'm going to pause there for a second. And while the Premier wanted to fulfill the promise that she made, I am also feel quite confident that, with her foresight and with whatever challenges, if any, the education ministry may be having in terms of recruiting, and I use this word and I'm going to use it repeatedly, qualified teachers, that she has seen the writing on the wall, the handwriting on the wall in terms of the competition that is out there to recruit qualified teachers. Also, everyone is talking about the cost of living in the Cayman Islands, and we should not in any way disregard the fact that those persons who may be recruited to come to the Cayman Islands, one of their main considerations will be, what is the cost of living like? If I'm teaching, not only because teaching is my passion, but also I want to be able to sufficiently support myself and my family if they are left in my country of origin as well, that I want to ensure that all the money that I'm making is not being spent back in the Cayman economy, but I am afforded that opportunity to have some savings as well. I'm sure that all of that would be in the thoughts of the Premier and Minister of Education when taking these things into consideration. It's a very, very competitive world out there. And we know that when it comes to learning, and there are challenges out there, and there are not many countries who can say that they are satisfied with the results that are being delivered by those responsible for educating their children. There are not a whole lot of successes out there. And it is extremely, extremely important if we're going to be living in a competitive world, not only when it comes to education, but when it also comes to employment, then you have to ensure that your populace is properly educated as well. And that is a part of the aspirations that we have laid out in our Constitution as well. To have a good education and the right and the ability of persons to have a good education, as well. So the article goes on to talk about the fact that there were 41 new teachers. So at the event held at the John Gray High School gymnasium, teachers returning for the school year were welcomed, along with 41 new educators joining the ranks to teach the more than 5,000 children in our public schools. So we know that the student population that is in our public schools, folks, not mentioning private schools as well, over 5,000 children in our public schools. This year, the newcomers include 2 newly qualified Caymanian teachers, according to Ms. Lynette Monteith, who's the Chief Officer in the Ministry of Education. So out of those 41, only 2, very small percentage, but hopefully that will increase as well. Celebrating some wins for local schools, Mr. Mark Ray, who's the Director of the Department of Education Services, said that preliminary exam results showing a number of subjects with 100% passes, and noted that it appears there was a 13% increase in the pass rate for mathematics, a subject that has been weak in local schools for years. So a 13% increase. But those of you who delve into statistics may ask, 13% of what? Is it 13%, of 20 passes or 200 passes or whatever, in the previous year? So that 13% figure that was there, that needs to be put into context, as well. Then talking about the low pass rates in mathematics led to the Premier announcing at last year's welcome event the addition of 14 teachers who were math specialists. And in her speech on Friday, she said progress in strengthening mathematic performance in schools was continuing, adding that by September this year, every government primary school would have a dedicated math teacher on staff. Every government primary school will have a dedicated math teacher. My question there, good start, but is 1 per school, is that sufficient? Will that person experience burnout at some point in time? Do we need to boost that as well? Talking about access to technology, and I have to pause there because we have to go to our commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. urgent care right now.
You can now renew your driver's license or motor vehicle license online, and you don't need an ESID number. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Visit www.dvdl.gov.ky.
Get your child ready for the new school year with Total Health in Grand Pavilion. Total Health's comprehensive back-to-school checkups include ENT, eye, and dental pediatric exams. Ensure your child's health with a complete health report card before school begins. Contact Total Health today at 333-2222 or visit totalhealth.ky to schedule your child's back-to-school checkup. Total Health, where wellness meets education, because every child deserves a healthy start.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Our phone lines are open if you want to call in. Don't wait until 9:45 and everyone then backed up on the phone lines, and we can only accommodate so many callers. I will remind you, our toll-free number 1-800-534-8255, also 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp number 925-3261. So one of our listeners has written and said, good morning. My question regarding salary increases for government teachers. While it sounds good to say teachers are getting a salary increase, is there any thought to the trickle-down effect on the private schools? Good question, and we'll come back to that. Private schools are suffering as they cannot compete with the public schools, and you're finding teachers coming to the private schools just to get on island and then transferring to government schools due to the due to the salary, attractiveness of the salary in government schools as opposed to private schools. Person says, correct me if I am wrong, but as a government employee, are those government school teachers not exempt from the 9-year term limit? If so, that again is another negative to private schools as well. And we will address those. We do have 2 callers online. Let's grab the first caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Morning, Mario. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, and welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, and good morning to all the listeners on beautiful Monday morning here in the Cayman Islands. I guess we're enjoying the last few days before the school traffic gets heavy again, and we're back to that.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope you had a good break.
I did, thank you. I did.
Yeah, interesting comment you just made about the schools. Yeah, that whole issue around the public schools versus private schools, the public health services versus private health services, and the impact on salaries and benefits, and also the issue with from a resident in Stardust. All those, as you well know, big issues that need to be looked at. It is a ticking time bomb there in terms of the issues around eligibility for citizenship and Stardust and all that. So I was just calling. You mentioned earlier about the ambassadors program at the airport, and I just want to say that when I was the chief HR officer there, we brought that into force. But it was not just me, of course. It was Mr. Albert Anderson, the CEO, Ms. Bianca Moore, the leadership team, and the board that actually came up with that idea. But the important thing about the ambassadors at the airport is that they're not employees, or at least as far as I know, they were not employees at the time that I left in 2021. They are actually private contractors, so they have their own health insurance and pensions. If they're at the age that they're required to have pensions, or if they don't have their own health insurance, otherwise. But these are contractors and not employees. And why I say that is that sometimes Caymanians in particular are being employed by organizations in the public sector, government being one, civil service, and also private sector. And you're not sure whether they're contractors or employees. And in the private sector, the Labour Act requires people to have employment contracts. That's in Section 6 of the Act, and it tells you what those contracts should stipulate, and it should be clearly identified as whether they're employees or not.
Mm-hmm.
But some of that stuff is not being done. So what's happening is that people now, when they get time to get to retirement, they realize, wait a minute, I have been working all these years, and I have no pension, nothing accumulated. They haven't been watching it very closely either, but they actually were employed as contractors and not employees. So again, that's another big issue that needs to be looked at. And this is where you come into developing our country without having sufficient resources to enforce all these laws. And again, that you can build and put up all the concrete, but without all of the institutional systems in place to properly build the nation, enforce the laws, and to have sustainable development, we're going to be ending up with a real mess on our hands if we're not careful.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Eubanks, if I may ask, so you're saying basically it may be to their disadvantage that they're employed as private contractors as opposed to being on staff?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that they need to know whether they're fish or fowl, like what they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know if they're a contractor, and if they are, then they realize that they're responsible for their own health insurance. They have to do their own pensions, and at the end of the period, they're having a claim for severance or for benefits.
But are most of them already outside retirement age?
Well, speaking about the one that you mentioned earlier on the
the ambassadors,
the airport ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
I would think many of those are near or just over the retirement age. But in the case of those, all of those, as far as I know, they were all told about their rules and they all signed a contract as well, saying that they're contractors. Mm-hmm. They're required to show that they have health insurance. Mm-hmm. They also, at the time of my involvement in it, they were also supposed to have a trade and business license as a sole proprietor, as a business, but a sole proprietor. So in the case of them, I think they have it all together, as far as I know when I was there. And I'm pretty sure, knowing Mr. Albert Anderson, that sort of tight control and management is still in place. But there's many other statutory authorities or private companies that may hire Caymanians, whether they're younger or whether they're beyond retirement age, that these people don't have any contracts, and they don't know whether they're an employee or a contractor. Sometimes the employer might say, well, I'll get to that later on, and the person keeps asking for a contract or keeps asking for something, they get nothing, but they want to work, so they continue working. Years go by, and then when the time comes, they end up to realize, I was not an employee, I don't have any insurance, I don't have any pension, because as you know, when people are on permit, they're required, when they submit their permit grants or renewals, to prove that they have insurance coverage, at least at the time of the application. But for Caymanians who don't have to require permits, there's really not a lot of checks and balances to enforce where they are. Right?
Got you.
I would like to talk to you about this subject a lot, but what I really called about is, just very briefly, recently there was a thing in the news about the importation of, I think it was marijuana and fentanyl that came in by one of the courier companies. And I don't know if you remember that. It was in the news last week where it was intercepted by Customs and Border Control. Mm-hmm. I'm very thankful for that. I want to give a shout out to all those folks at the front lines there that protect our borders to have intercepted that. What I was concerned about is that, fentanyl is a serious thing.
Yes.
If I get loose in Cayman, you can write this whole place off, right? And we really need to make sure that is clamped down. But my point is this. Some time ago, there was somebody who brought in guns with ammunition, and that went to court, and there was some ruling about the person had a right to bring these things in, a traveler or something like that. And that was watered down, right? That was all watered down. If that was a Caymanian, now that person would have been up northward by now, probably. But that was watered down, and person was given all kind of special dispensations. I hope the same thing doesn't happen with this case with fentanyl, and especially fentanyl. The ganja part is bad enough, but fentanyl is like a oh man, that is doomsday. And because I was told it was the weekend that the people that brought it in was some visitors that were apparently bringing it for a party. A party. Right? So they were going to party on this hard drugs, right? No, I'm saying to this, that's what I'm saying. Let us throw the book at these people. No more liberal, loosey-goosey treatment of these kind of criminals. Throw the book at them, deport them, and put them in prison here or overseas indefinitely. This kind of stuff has to be stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that our country does not go down that liberal road around this kind of thing. So that's all I want to say to you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. And the challenges that Customs and Border Control face are extremely. It continues, and people are using more and more what I would say, quote unquote, creative ways to bring drugs into the country as well. But we also want to applaud Customs and Border Control for the good work that they do. And we don't always hear about some of the successes because sometimes you may not want to publicize it because you don't want the crooks, the criminals, to know that you are on to the way that they're doing it as well. With that, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold, but we didn't want to have to interrupt that caller to go to the commercial break. Caller, hang in there. Quick commercial break. When we return, we will take your call. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
She hear clunk and our car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding Pain Cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
The DVDL Customer Support Unit is now open. Customers can book appointments for written and driving tests through DVDL's hotline at 945-8344. That's 945-8344.
If you're hearing, then maybe it's time you replace that old appliance. Now until the end of August, you can save 15% on all LG appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. LG washers, dryers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, microwaves, and hoods are all on sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Not only will you save 15%, you also receive a 1-year parts warranty with any LG appliance purchased by the end of August. Only at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000. Shop at Funky Tanks, the home of electronics and more. Check out Funky Tanks' 2 locations, Shedden Road and Countryside Savannah, for loads of savings. In stock at Funky Tanks, both locations: stoves, fridges and small appliances, mini split air conditioning units, sheets and comforters, all sizes, window curtains, cell phones and telephone accessories, musical instruments, karaoke and Bluetooth speakers, portable radios and portable fans are now available. Get yours for your hurricane kit. Funky Tanks. For more information, call 949-0998.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to our phone lines, and then after that I will introduce a guest that I have in the studio. You would have heard her last week as well on with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. She's an intern here at Radio Cayman, and we will tell you more about her in a while. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Hey. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much. How are things?
Good. You missed a good Friday.
Yeah, but one of your clients was sort of complaining a little bit. I heard it as soon as I got off the plane, so that'll give you an idea of who that was, complaining. I don't know if they got there late, or he's saying, that you got to make sure that the originals are always taken care of first. But it seems as if your clientele is getting larger and larger.
Larger and larger. Milda, our good friend Milda, so she counted 105.
Wow.
People come through. We had Emily, we had Robert Wood, we had a lot. We had like five new members came through. But we did have a good spread. We had fried jacks, we had turtle, we had beef, we had lobster.
Yeah.
So we did have a good spread, but I guess the crowd increased. Minister Kenneth was on Friday, and he did ask the question if there was anything going on.
I heard him.
So that kind of put it up there. We'll see.
So was it Yellow Jack? Was it Yellow Jack or just the fried jack? The smaller jack.
Ladon Jacks.
Ladon Jacks, okay.
But nobody in the crowd seemed to know anything. And they all, as you know, they all came annuals that are here.
And they didn't know about what a Ladon Jack was?
They heard about them. They never heard about them in their life. And half of them was guys that spearfish. So, yeah. We're getting back to the school and government schools and private schools. I think there was some policy where if you were here on a work permit, you had to put your kids in private schools. You couldn't take advantage of the government schools, right? And you had to be making, I think, minimum of $500 or something like that to be able to have those kids being accepted here on island. But I think that $500 been put in place now maybe for the last must be 20 years.
Yeah, it's actually what $3,500 for the first dependent if you're on a work permit. You have to be earning $3,500, at least $3,500 to be allowed to have one dependent.
One child.
And for each dependent after that, it is an additional $500 for each one.
Okay, that is still, I understand that still remains. As it was, right?
That's been there for years, and we know that the cost of living in the Cayman Islands has gone up exponentially.
And I think what they have done now, instead of increasing those numbers, that cost, they have accommodate those people by allowing now their kids to go to government schools.
Well, I think that has always been in place. Just for clarity, in many instances, I remember before they would, on their approval letter, it was saying also that the children must attend private schools. Now, that proved to be a backlash because then if we're requiring all foreign students to attend private schools, we're making it also competitive for the Caymanians. And I remember a former chairperson of the Caymanian Protection Board. She had difficulty getting her children into private schools because the waiting list, she was on a waiting list, and they were, accommodating the foreign students first because the foreign students were required to attend that. So it had, unintended consequences by requiring that. Now I believe if there is space available in government schools, then they are accepted in government schools as well. That is when I say they, the children of work permit holders.
Not if there's space available. They're being overrun. The schools are being overrun because of now they having that that option of putting their kids in private schools. I mean, in public schools. So the more kids that are out there to go to government, the more demand for government schools, there'll be more demand to build more schools, provide more classrooms, and they're not contributing anything towards that education. That's all free.
No, they have to pay. They pay a fee. They pay a government fee.
They pay a government fee?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, when you say government fee,
whatever it is that government would charge for non-Caymanian students.
Similar to the private schools?
Probably, it's probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
We know that not.
Yeah.
But still, it costs the same amount of money to run the school, government school, as it take to run private schools. So, same price, same. They got to pay teachers, same thing. Same light bill, same whatever. So, I think we'll see this thing about people jumping off the plane and come here and enjoying all these accolades and not contributing anything because they're coming from a tax-based country. We need to start putting now some sort of taxes in place. When we say taxes, like we can call it like infrastructure taxes, because people come in here that have to pay to go to a beach where they come from. It's not something that they enjoy all their life, and they got an option to go to almost just about any beach in Cayman. They can go to any park. They can turn on the lights. They can play volleyball. And when I'm on my way home, 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the night, the lights are still on. Nobody on the court. They never turn them off. And I got to be calling Minister Ozzie and telling him about the lights still on until his wife started telling me stop calling her husband, waking him up. So those kind of things. Also, we went to Shell Cup, which is the biggest tournament within the Caribbean. And if we're not playing the host country, we have to play 2 o'clock under the hot sun. They don't turn on the lights for us, for foreigners. Now, anybody can go to our fields, click the lights on, play the game, and leave without turning the lights off. So they can go to the beach, they can leave their garbage. After they finish with the beach, they can fill up their containers with water to the cost of $10,000. One recreational center had a bill in that range, and then they can also fill up the tank that they got in their car wash van, those kind of things, and nobody pays anything.
So what's the answer to it? What's the answer?
Oh, well,
we know we got the problem. What do we do?
I know the answer. Every work permit person pay $500 a year. And we can call it infrastructure fee. How about that? And it's not the employer, this is the employee that have to pay $500 for their work permit, and that have to be paid submitting your work permit.
An impact fee, the impact that they have on the country, the environment, and everything else. Okay, very creative, and doable, and doable.
And then because it's free for all. OC, it's free for all.
Yep.
You can go anywhere, and OC back in the day, you would leave home 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock to go to the beach, and we were satisfied that we would get a hut or a tent or a space on the beach. Now they got people going there 12 o'clock at night and sleeping within the hut so they can have the hut for the next day. We wasn't used to that, OC. That's not Cayman. That is not Cayman. So now we need, if you got to pay to play. Okay?
We're the victims of our own success, but what we haven't done with that success is that we haven't, adjusted things to deal with that success as well.
We need to start looking into this kind of thing, obviously, because everything and everywhere is getting overrun. And most of the people really don't treat the facilities or see the way that we treated it. There is a no to throw down garbage on the beach. Garbage cans are right there. They don't carry their own garbage bags, and when the thing is running over, they just throw it right down on the ground next to the garbage. And the poor guys from the park creation, those guys that come in
recreation and parks unit,
park guys, You got to come and clean up the place. I see them on the beach when we go walking, cleaning the garbage up from other people, from a party. Not like a little family went down and had a few snacks. We talking about party rum, beer bottles. I got the videos with people at Governor at Smith back there. Big coolers, of alcohol, and there's a big sign facing them that tells them straight up, no sale of alcohol or no consumption of alcohol on these premises.
Yeah.
That no mind,
That was something that the late Edna Moyle, when she had that responsibility put into effect, and that was a good thing. But
yeah, that was a good thing.
Yep. Okay.
And talking about alcohol, we need now to go back, to on weekends, 1 o'clock, and on Sunday night, 12 o'clock. We're shutting everything down, getting everybody off the street.
Yep.
This 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that is not the tourism product. There's nobody comes here and wants to stay in the hotel or as a tourist that want to be out there at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning running up and down, drinking rum. Okay?
All right, Lord Graham.
That we have to change that too.
Thank you very much for that, Lord Graham. Okay, why don't we do this? We have 1 minute, and then we're going to be coming back. So you would have heard her in the studio last week with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We have Miss Kaja Warren in the studio with us. She's a recent graduate of the University of Bradford in the United Kingdom. She will be returning to, is it Bradford again? You're going to?
It will be a university in Manchester.
University of Manchester to pursue her master's degree as well. When we return, we're going to introduce her to you. We're going to talk with her, as well. One of our listeners has written and said, good morning, OC. We mourn the loss of Ned Solomon, your contemporary, who's the father of security and protective services in the Cayman Islands. So true. Ned, an accountant and entrepreneur, started Shield Security Services in the late 1970s, setting up shop in the old Cayman-style cottage in the vicinity of the new government administration building. He was ambitious, innovative, and athletic and adventurous. We will miss him for his kindness, willingness to be that quiet community problem solver. We have lost a delighted human being. Our prayers are with the Solomon family. Ned Loud, his Georgetown, and his Cayman Brac. With that, folks, we're going to go to headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Salary increases are announced for assistant teachers as well as principals and their deputies at Friday's annual Educator Welcome for the public sector. As you heard live right here on Radio Cayman, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly told educators those increases would hit their September paychecks, backdated from August. At least 6 people have been killed after Russia launched a massive attack across Ukraine. The president says more than 100 missiles and about 100 attack drones were launched. Russia claims it used high-precision weapons to hit energy infrastructure with power and water outages reported across many Ukrainian cities. The wave of attacks comes 3 weeks after Ukraine's incursion into Russia's Kursk region. Moscow has vowed to retaliate. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said he is, quote, deeply concerned after Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah movement mounted their biggest round of cross-border strikes since the war in Gaza began. On Sunday, Israeli jets hit dozens of sites across southern Lebanon in what it said were preemptive strikes to prevent a, quote, much wider attack. And Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel. Mr. Gutierrez warned that their actions put civilians at risk, as well as threatening regional security and stability. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians, offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As I mentioned earlier, we have Keja Warren in the studio with us. She's a recent graduate of the University of Bradford. She will be returning to the UK to pursue her master's degree, as well.
Yes.
Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. We know that you've been in the studio with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks as well. And
Yes, thank you for having me back. Last week was really interesting. I had so much fun being on the air.
Great. Now, I know when we were in there talking with you and Miss Susan, you have an interest in politics eventually.
Yes, I do.
But your pursuit as far as your education is concerned is in what field?
So as of now, it's generally business, but my master's will be somewhat a bit of tourism, just because it'll be international events management. So Cayman obviously to me has such a great potential to host and deliver multiple events and bring in more benefits for us as a tourism country. So there's so much opportunity for that, and I see myself being able to move within the political sphere and do something with that.
Excellent. And you want to talk a little bit about your experience in the UK as far as schooling is concerned? And I would be particularly interested in getting your views on what has been taking place in the UK recently, with all of the violence that has been taking place, and those persons who are not originally from the UK or look like they're not originally from the UK, what they're feeling. I know I have, family members as well who are concerned about returning to the UK for schooling because of the situation. They, of course, have to be, on the streets. They have received feedback from some of their counterparts, over there as well. And it is extremely unsettling, and whether or not you have any views on that also.
Yeah, naturally it would be something that is of concern. But I would say for the most part, my experience in the UK, I didn't really have much interaction with like biases or anything. But I do know that right now there's this big unsettling feeling when it comes to returning to the UK, because there's like this whole thing with xenophobia, where they don't really want people who are not from the UK to be in there, and they're protesting, and they're even doing a bunch of looting and stuff, something that you find common in like America. And it's
attacking people on the streets
attacking
as well.
People as well, and it's a bit scary. But I would say to somebody who would be returning to the UK or would be setting off anytime about now, it's not something that you should necessarily be scared of, just because if you do all the precautionary measures and just be aware of your surroundings, you should be all right. But you should still have your guard up in a way, because you never know what may take place. Yeah. But, we can't necessarily escape it in a way as well, just because people are going to do what they want to do. But it's not nice to see. It's really not nice to see that people are making it known that they don't like people who are not from there. Yeah.
And of course, there And some people may say, well, they're reacting to what has happened, where persons from other jurisdictions or who originated from other jurisdictions are, committing some heinous crimes, and they're responding to it. But we know also that a lot of it is ideological. What they refer to as the right or the far right, those extremists who are looking to create chaos as well.
Yeah, and I feel like one thing with the UK is people try to paint this picture that people who are foreign are the ones who are causing trouble. And in fact, if you go there and you experience it for yourself, it's actually the locals. So it's not really nice to see, because it makes you feel like you're being targeted in a way. Yeah.
Well, and not you a little bit too young to know about this, but there was something called the Windrush.
Yeah, I know.
Generation in the 50s, where the UK, after the war,
the
England, the United Kingdom, needed to rebuild.
Exactly.
And they needed people. So they were actually welcoming people, encouraging people. You had this boat, the Windrush, who went throughout the Caribbean, Bermuda, as well, and took people over there. Some of them later on ended up suffering, because while they thought that they, obtained British citizenship or the right to remain indefinitely in the UK, when some of them left, they found out differently, as well.
Yep.
Some died not having it resolved, and there are some who still have not had it resolved. But at one point in time, the UK was quite welcoming.
Exactly.
And then after that, they became an anti-immigrant.
Which makes no sense,
society.
because how do you need the people from foreign countries to come in and help you, and then you're going to turn around and act in this way towards them? It's really not kind.
Okay, we'll talk about your political aspirations.
Yeah. I see so much that, as a young person, that needs to change. And for me, that's where it starts. I want to see my country be able to remain affordable for people who are from here. And not only that, like, there's so much that could be done better. Not to say that the current administration is not doing a good job, but there's so much that can be done better. And maybe it's just that, actually, I'll keep that comment to myself. But yeah, there's so much room to do better and be better. And not only that, look out for the Caymanians to come, because what is happening now will have a lasting effect on us to come, the younger generation. So it's about addressing the pressing concerns, not only for now, but for the future as well.
Now, as at some point in time, you will be returning to the Cayman Islands. And what would be your expectations as far as your ability to obtain a job, hopefully in the area that you have concentrated your studies, but otherwise as well? And if you are on government scholarship, do you have any expectations whatsoever that the government would provide some avenues, opportunities for you to gain employment, especially if you're getting into the field of international entertainment management, where you pointed out that the Cayman Islands is fertile ground, for that type of thing happening. And we see, some of the larger corporations in the Cayman Islands promoting these events and everything else, but we don't necessarily know whether or not there are Caymanians in their employ who are driving that as well.
Yeah, so I feel like my expectations, I don't want to be too entitled, but I do feel like Cayman Islands government does have a responsibility to me as a, scholarship recipient, to help me in a way to secure some type of job. Because, I've just done all of the work to get the degree, and I feel it would only be fair to, have that support to find a job. Because I know for a lot of people who returned, they've come back to Cayman and they've sat for like 9 months and they did not get a job. And it's like, if we have this so-called portal that has all of these job availabilities, why is it so hard for our young people to find jobs after coming back from studying? They did all of that hard work to sit down. How is that fair?
Now, what I know that in the past, and this goes years back from the 80s and in the 90s, people were saying, we have a golden opportunity here because we have students that we send abroad. We should know who those students are,
exactly,
what area of study they're engaging in.
Precisely.
And I think you would have been, for instance, in here on the panel with Dr. Steve Macfield as well. Was
yeah.
he? And in the 70s, 80s, Dr. Steve Macfield, David Rich, attorneys, law students went off to the United Kingdom. When they came back, they were employed initially by government in, as Crown Counsel and, as a clerk of courts or assistant clerk of courts as well. So those days, the numbers were small. We knew who was coming back. We knew what they were engaged in. You have persons like the late Donovan Ebanks, who was into engineering. People like Mr. Colford Scott, also into engineering. Former Member of Parliament, Mr. Ezard Miller, who was into, pharmaceuticals. All of those we knew. Population has gotten much larger.
Way larger.
But there are those who still believe that there is that golden opportunity out there for the government to know every Caymanian, in particular those that they have offered scholarships to, what they're doing, where they're going, when they're coming back, and how can we accommodate them.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fact that you don't want to feel like you're entitled, but to a certain extent, you are entitled.
Exactly.
And we have provided carve-outs in our Constitution to accommodate you.
Brilliant.
As well. Now, my question to you, and you may not want to answer this because you're on government scholarship.
Yeah.
Has anyone within the scholarship program, within the education department, anywhere, sounded you out to find out when will you be back? What is it that you're studying?
Yeah.
And asking the question, how can we be of assistance, either in terms of offering you a job or carving legislation in such a way that, for instance, there are certain jobs that we're going to say we're not issuing work permits for because we have Caymanians who can fill those positions, who have gone overseas and prepared themselves to fill those positions. Has anyone been in touch with you?
Actually, the answer to that question is no. Nobody's actually been in contact with me. And funny enough, I just graduated in July of this year, so I would assume somebody would have been in contact with me, because if it was not my intention to go and pursue a master's, I would have been here completed with my degree. And it's now August, June. So, it's been some time since I've graduated, and no one has been in contact with me. So it's like, why haven't they been in contact with me? Imagine if I didn't, want to do the master's, I would have basically began sitting down just about now.
You'd have to fend for yourself in terms of, getting a job. But do you believe that government bears some responsibility in terms of that, with the number of jobs that are going and the number of non-Caymanians that are also employed within the civil service?
Yeah, they need to do better. I'm going to be very frank and say that they need to do better, because it's one thing to give us the opportunity to go and pursue our degrees and whatnot, but there should also be that opportunity to come back and have that security to know that there's a job, not necessarily waiting, but there's jobs available for you to take.
At least the opportunities are there. Yeah,
exactly. And they say that there's jobs available, but then when a Caymanian goes and tries to apply for it, they have the longest thing told to them, like, oh, you're overqualified, you don't have enough experience, all of these things. And my thing is, even if they want to throw this, oh, you're underexperienced thing at us, like, we have the qualifications, you just need to teach us. And we can't do anything unless we get the opportunity to learn. And not giving us the job is not giving us the opportunity to learn.
Okay, with that, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. You're hearing the voice of Miss Keja Warren, who is a recent graduate of the University of Bradford in the United Kingdom. She's returning to pursue her master's degree as well. She's an intern right here at Radio Cayman, and you're hearing the voice and the opinions of a young Caymanian to whom we will leave the future of the Cayman Islands in her hands and persons like her as well. With that, we'll take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding pain cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
If you're hearing, then maybe it's time you replace that old appliance. Now until the end of August, you can save 15% on all LG appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. LG washers, dryers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, microwaves, and hoods are all on sale at Brand Source Home Gallery. Not only will you save 15%, you also receive a 1-year parts warranty with any LG appliance purchased by the end of August. Only at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with us we have Miss Kaja Warren, who is a recent graduate of the University of Bradford. She's returning to the United Kingdom to pursue her master's degree as well. On the topic of the non-Caymanian students' ability to attend government schools, one of our listeners have shared, well actually, I can say it, Lord Graham has shared with me information that he received that the charge for non-Caymanian students is $250 per term for government schools. And that fee has been in place for at least 30 years, and they haven't even tried to increase that. And that's per year, including school lunch. It is ridiculous. I just want to say that while we may talk about, policy and government policy, at the end of the day, we also have to recognize our obligation to children.
Yeah.
Irrespective of whether or not they are Caymanian.
Exactly.
They deserve to have that opportunity. If they're here in the Cayman Islands, I believe that our education, our law is such that there is a requirement, legal requirement for them to attend, school.
And it's their right as well. It's a universal right. Not
so we don't want to, castigate the young children. Yes, the systems that we have in place, we may want to hold the adults more accountable, and but at the end of the day, things like a free lunch. We have seen that becoming a topic in the U.S., for instance, and you hear teachers talk about the fact, and they see it more than anyone else.
Yeah.
If a child comes to a classroom hungry, you're not going to get anything out of them. They're not going to be attentive and everything else. So they know that as well. So, Keja, why don't we grab the next caller?
Let's do that.
Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, young lady, Miss Warren.
Hi, good morning.
Good. Now, you got a scholarship from the government, right?
Yes, sir.
That's a very good thing.
Yes, it is. I'm very grateful.
Good. Well, you really don't sound too grateful. But my point of view is that you graduated, right?
Yeah.
You graduated and you plan to pursue a higher education, take it to the next level.
Yes, sir.
Now, you said you came home and nobody came to you looking, well, I don't know what to say, but okay, I'm home, we can get a job. Obviously, at the interim, I don't know if you get there or not, but if I was in your position, young lady, the government gave me a chance to get an education. Now, I took it to one level, and I want to go to another level. So you would be going back to college now for another year, maybe?
Yeah, university for another year.
Okay, university for another year. Now, do you think, in your own interest,
yeah,
you're a college graduate. I didn't go to college. I got told when I was 15 out of high school for being rude. No, I think if you want to work with the Cayman Island government to tap it back, or you need to make a living period, I would go to whoever, what department that I am trying to look employment with citizen. I just graduated with blah, blah, blah. Now I'm going back to get blah, blah, blah. And I will be back in 1 year time. Could you please have something lined up for me until I get back? No, that is a year notice.
Yeah.
Now, a educated, forward-thinking person would do that. But let me tell you something about education. Education teaches you to do certain things. It's not teaching you that if you want to use your education, you have to pursue it. I didn't have an education, and I started my own businesses. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I wanted something different in life. And good luck when you come back.
Thank you.
And you get a job. Because I've been trying to get a job to go ganja, legal to self-medicine for the last 12, 15 years.
Okay.
And when you say you can't get nothing to grow medicine, and our little young children that not going to education, all they got a police record for smoking weed. I hope you don't think that that's not going to have an effect on our economy, on our way of life. You know what? You know what's happening in Cayman right now? You got a helicopter over your head with man, people now with gun, and you got a one them on the road with gun, looking for ganja, man that bring ganja, and there were a lot of weed. So obviously, if you carrying something to the market, you have sale for it. Thank you, young lady. You continue, and you have a nice day.
Thank you.
I hope you all the success in the world.
Oh, thank you very much.
Nothing. You know, I got nothing that you believe people that come and bring it to you, because I can ask you this question and you can answer it when I'm gone.
Okay.
So you think that a cow gives milk? Answer it for me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, and thanks for the encouragement that you've given to Ms. Warren as well. Let's see if we can grab another caller before we go to our commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning. How are you, my friend?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And hi to Keisha. Sound like a cousin of mine. I'm not.
Hi, good morning.
But O.C., I remember, many years ago when I was growing up, whenever government gave a scholarship, you were supposed to come back to the island and work for, I can't remember, I think it was 2 years. If you didn't want to fulfill that agreement, then if you wanted to go into the private sector, you had to pay the cost of what was given to you for your education.
Yeah, you were what you call bonded to government for a given period of time.
That's still the case. That's still the case.
Yes. What has happened now that there has got too many foreigners in these positions? There's no place in this country anymore for Caymanians. When will it change? When are we going to get people like Dr. Steve McField that will have enough gall to get up and say, enough is enough? It should be about Caymanians, not about the world. Keeping the world happy, everybody that comes here. When will this change? Have a good morning, everybody.
Thank you very much. Skeja, you want to?
Well, I think that also boils down to the voice of the people, because Caymanians are only getting on social media and making these statements. It's not that they're actually doing anything to demand a change. And if you look at even France, for instance, when they don't agree with what their government is doing, they strike, they protest.
They get out there.
Caymanians, it's like they're scared to protest or something. If you want to change, you have to stand up.
Yep.
So it boils down to the people. If you guys want to see change, you have to take the initiative to say, you know what, I'm not taking this anymore.
And you have to do more than just talk.
Exactly. Talking and getting us nowhere. We've seen this for years now.
You have to walk the walk.
You have to walk the walk.
And literally sometimes walk.
Exactly. It's more than just saying it and expecting a change. You need to actually protest. If you want to see a change, it's time to protest. Yep.
Now you acknowledge that you're still bonded to government,
yes,
to a certain extent.
Yep.
So what does do you recall exact terminology that is used? And tell us what it is.
So basically, when you receive your scholarship, you have to sign documentation, you and your parent or guardian, and they basically sign over saying that you are bonded to the amount of whatever you receive, and if you are not willing to or not wanting to work in the Cayman Islands for the same amount of time, because the thing is that you have to return to the islands and work within, I think it's about a year, or they've changed it, but my bond says that I have a year to return to the Cayman Islands upon completing my studies, and I have to work for the same amount of time that they funded me for, and they funded me for 2 years and 9 months, because my course took 2 years and 9 months. So that would be the term of time that I would have to give back to the Cayman Islands. Not necessarily the Cayman Islands government, but my clause says that I have to work within the Cayman Islands for the same amount of time that they funded me for, or give back half of what they funded me.
So don't you believe then that if that is stipulated in your agreement that you come back to the Cayman Islands and work, it doesn't necessarily have to be for the government of the Cayman Islands, but it has to be within the Cayman Islands, then shouldn't the Cayman Islands government create the environment
exactly
that will make it possible for you to come back to the Cayman Islands and be gainfully employed? And when I say gainfully employed, I mean, working for a wage, for a livable wage.
Yes.
As well. Don't you feel that obligation is there on the Cayman Islands government?
I believe so, because they've just basically allowed us to go away for X amount of time. When we return, it's like we're new to Cayman again, in a sense. We don't have access to like all these connects, because Cayman is a connection thing. Let's be real. You have to have connects to get into these jobs and these things. So we lost the opportunity to network with our own individuals, and now it's time to get a job, but it's much harder because we don't have these connections. And
you're competing with everybody else.
You're competing with everybody else, not just the locals, but foreigners as well.
Yeah. With that, we're going to take a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold. Caller, please hang in there. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. Don't lie on your resume. Because if you say you've got trapeze experience, someone might shoot you out of a cannon and expect you to do a gymnast routine while flying through the air at 82 miles an hour. And just because you want to land on your feet doesn't mean you will. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance, so you get the best coverage for the price.
Get the best coverage for the price. CG Brit-K. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have a couple of callers on hold. This person wrote saying that last caller is right. Government's best move in years is to insist on rollover within the civil service instead of contracting to status, or I would imagine that what they mean being able to transition to status and then block locals like your graduate guests. I wonder if they will actually do it, and does the deputy governor support this, as well? Well, not sure what the pushback is as far as government, is concerned, but we have heard successive governments talk about the fact that the employment within government of non-Caymanians should be equal to the conditions that are placed on those persons who are employed outside of government on work permits as well. And Ms. Warren, this question for you, you can think about it, and when you get the mic, you can answer it as well. This person says there are voices now saying we don't need cruise and stayover tourism, and that it causes more harm than good. As a young Caymanian studying tourism, what are your thoughts on that? So we'll get you to respond to that as well. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning, Ms. Warren.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. This is Minister Brian. That's a wonderful question for her to answer. I can't wait to hear her answer on that, considering the fact I'm the Minister of Tourism. But also, the person who was the author of that comment earlier in respect to the civil service and whether the DG supports it. I think all of that shall come to light in due time, because it is a fundamental part of the conversation that we're having today. Now, Ms. Warren, you're going to have further conversations, but I want to challenge you this morning a little bit.
Okay.
To think outside of the scope of the discussion, because very often what we do in our discussions is we use the word government interchangeably.
Yeah.
Government by policymakers and government by civil service. And there's a fundamental difference between the two, because
Certainly.
we're in overseas territory. Now, OC, a very informative source of information right there next to you in respect from an immigration perspective, as well as a former cabinet secretary understands how the civil service works. In 2009, we agreed to a constitution, which I'm not sure all of us was paying as close attention, even me, myself, as to the parameters in it. Because the discussion you had earlier about going away to school and be contracted to come back home and for work, it goes back to this thing of interchangeably why the government isn't doing something about it. The truth is, in the Section 55, the policymakers that you elect have no say about hiring and firing of anybody in the civil service. So we put the money together, we give out the scholarships, trying to give an opportunity to all young Caymanians, and then we think about all the job availabilities within the civil service. So they come back home just like you, very smart, intelligent, looking for an opportunity. but really the government policymakers that you elect can't even give you the job because we're not allowed to. If we interfere with it, we can lose our post. Matter of fact, one of my colleagues was accused of that, and the former premier had to make some adjustments, and I think OC can explain to you what I mean by that. So here's the thing. Now, granted, earlier you said, you know, the Cayman people should stand up and stand and fight for change. The question is, what change are you talking about? Because the truth is, and I've been accused and downgraded for this topic, I think the policymakers should have more say in employment, particularly within the biggest employer in the country, which is the civil service. But you see how many non-Caymanians are hired in the civil service every single day, but the politicians get the licks for it. And that's why I've always said I love and respect Mr. Franz Madison and all of the civil service heads, but we cannot take the licks as policymakers for the decisions they make in respect to hiring and firing and who they hire in, because it's none of the 19 elected members hiring all of these expats within the civil service. I can promise you that. We can't get involved in it. The Constitution stops us, and that's a Constitution that we voted for. So when we talk about standing up for change, maybe the change needs to be within the Constitution, where the power only lies within the hands of the governor, the king's representative. So we can't even control our own future, because if you can't put Caymanians in those positions to run the country, who's running the country for you, in what direction are they taking it in? So I only say that for us to get a scope of things, because I know, Ms. Warren, you're very intelligent. You think it's, even if you take out all 19 of these members right now and place them with brand new 19, the system is still going to be the same. That 19 members still not going to be able to have the power over who's elected. They're still not going to be able to take all of those young Caymanians like yourself coming back home with vigor and ready to change their country. They still don't have any say. And if the civil service says, no, I don't want you, I'm going to bring a teacher from Jamaica, while a young Caymanian teacher who's applied to government can't get in, we have no say. So I am asking us to think about what change you want, because sometimes you may change something that you don't realize not even fixing the problem. And half of the time, it's not the elected arm. And I'll leave you there. And I found it interesting. I close off now, OC, with that little comment that Mr. McKeever said just now, which went over everybody's head. He said, you don't take something to the market unless you have a willing buyer.
Yep, that's right.
For a minute. I'll leave you guys there. Listen to the rest of the show. Ms. Warren, I look forward to your call, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Minister.
Mr. Brian.
Ms. Susan, we have another caller on hold as well. 3 callers on hold. Let's try to grab as many as we can. We have about 6 minutes. Let's see if we can grab 2 callers in 6 minutes before we go to a commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning.
To Miss Warren.
Hi, good morning.
I'm sitting here listening, and I'm hoping and praying that she will be one of the shining stars of this young generation. I have a same problem with my daughter. She's been back at least over 20 years. She was given a government scholarship in social work, and up to this day, the 26th of August 2024, she has not received a call from government saying they have a need for social workers.
Wow.
The thing is, I don't know what is happening on this island, but can you tell me over 20-odd years ago, there has never been new staff into the social service department? First of all, she had an interview with the lady that was in charge there. She told her she knew she was coming back. She graduated with honors. She had all the experience she needed. She worked in the courts in North Carolina. She worked in the hospital. She worked with the juveniles. She did everything that she had already had experience. And when she came here, she was told that there was no job available there and that she could not place her then. So, case closed. She got a job at a law office, and she worked there for over 17 years. Up to now, no one from government or social services has called her and offered her a job. I say to her one day, I say, you know what? We need to sue the government, because when you did your contract, you signed the paper saying you would come back and work for them. Then the lady that was in charge wrote her a stink letter saying she would have to come in and pay it back because she didn't get a job. I said, listen, let me deal with this because you're not paying her back or you're not paying government back. If they don't have a job for you, then you know what? You won't be paying them back, not by the sweat of my hard work. you will not be paying them back.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what is happening. We have Caymanians here. You know what they need to do? Go and get a register of all the graduates that are here and what their graduation
Mm-hmm.
is about. If they're a doctor, a nurse, an accountant, even a gardener, they need to have a job registering all of the people that went to college, and they can find replacement. They are bringing in people here. They're working with government. They get their status. And you know what? After a while, we the Caymanians that need the jobs with government has to take care of every one of them. If they get sick, they're going to the hospital. They're getting free medical. They're going home. They're coming back. They're getting surgeries done at Shadow Hospital. Start with their own grassroots Caymanians first. Give them the job.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart people here. We don't have any lazy people. And I am sick and saying about getting on the radio and saying Caymanians are lazy. We are not lazy people. We paved the way for all of them to come in here to get a job, taking the bread off our tables.
Thank
you for listening.
Thank you very much,
And
caller.
Lauren, I wish you all the best. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to follow up with that on that caller because we won't have enough time before we go to the commercial break for the next caller. Miss Susan, we're going to have, if we have 3 people queued up, we're going to have to close the lines off so that we can accommodate them when we return from the commercial break. But I want to say, because I've been around long enough and seen enough things, right? Government within the immigration legislation, there is something called a business staffing plan. That plan allows companies to say, these are the positions that we're going to have, and these we're going to need to have the ability to fill these positions with work permit holders. What has government done? Government has given the private sector the opportunity for them to put their wish list. It's more than a wish list, really, because it's binding to a certain extent. Once you agree to that business staffing plan, then there's almost a full obligation for you to issue work permits for those positions unless they're Caymanians there. So government has said to the private sector, you tell us what it is that you need, who you're going to need, how many.
Wow.
But government isn't doing it for themselves and for Caymanians. They're not saying, well, here is what we're going to need in tourism. Here is what we're going to need in social services. And who do we want to employ? Who do we have? Or Caymanians, those are the ones that should come first, but we're not doing it. So again, that contradiction within government. And we need politicians to be able to see this.
Exactly.
And those that are able to see it, then we need to give them the ability to do something about it as well. With that, we're going to take a commercial break, the last commercial break. 3 callers on hold. We're going to ask you to please be as brief as possible because we'll only have about 12 minutes when we return from the commercial break.
You can now renew your driver's license or motor vehicle license online, and you don't need an ESID number. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Visit www.dvdl.gov.ky.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
The
Ministry of Education and the Passport and Corporate Services Office remind all students traveling to and from school overseas to ensure their passports are valid for both travel and entry into their destination country. Passports should be renewed at least 10 weeks before departure, and any necessary student visas must be obtained. For passport services, contact the Passport and Corporate Services Office at 649-7678. For Ministry of Education scholarship inquiries, contact scholarships@gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and the Passport and Corporate Services Office.
Shop at Funky Tanks, the home of electronics and more. Check out Funky Tanks' 2 locations, Shedden Road and Countryside Savannah, for loads of savings. In stock at Funky Tanks, both locations, stoves, fridges and small appliances, mini split air conditioning units, sheets and comforters, all sizes, window curtains, cell phones and telephone accessories, musical instruments, karaoke and Bluetooth speakers, portable radios and portable fans are now available. Get yours for your hurricane kit. Funky Tanks. For more information, call 949-0998.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show. And those of you, just my message earlier in relation to that business staffing plan is that government needs to create a business staffing plan for government. And you go to each government department and say, tell us the positions that you're going to need, and it should all be geared towards employing Caymanians. We know, that it says that, Caymanians should be considered first, and then persons married to Caymanians and the whole hierarchy. But whether or not that is continued, because we know, and you heard the young lady say here as well, you have to have those connections, you have to have those contacts as well. And while government may tell you that you have to apply online, all applications are made online, there is someone out there who's making a human decision at the end of the day. And if that person making that human decision isn't geared towards employing Caymanians, then the Caymanian isn't going to get that opportunity. I won't say any more because we want to accommodate all of the callers. We have 10 minutes left, so please be as brief. Consider someone else behind you waiting to say something as well. First caller, good morning, welcome.
OC?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And not only OC business staffing plan for government, but also a rollover policy.
Mm-hmm.
With a succession plan in place, they don't have that. You imagine our government don't have that.
Yes, one of our callers mentioned that before, one of our writers.
Yeah, real quick, your panel team mentioned about Caymanians coming home and having to compete with foreign people for a job. That shouldn't be it, OC. You come here and invest, this is what you got to work with. Yep. This is the mentality. This is the style we work. This is we take 4 hours for lunch. This is what you got to work with. If you don't want to do business here, you go. We should not have been competing with nobody. And the other lady that called in, I want to be fast, that speak about her daughter working overseas and then coming here and can't get a job. But yet, when it's convenient for them, they can say, they can use this, that, they had international experience.
Yeah.
But see, before they left their little village where they come from, they never had no international experience.
Yep.
So, but yet our children working overseas, coming home, and then they can't get a job too. They international experience.
Yep.
So, see, we got to start, like the young lady also said, we got to start popping some heads. Long time no more to not get the head pop. We need to get out there and start popping some heads, bro, if that's how you want to put it.
Got you. Thank you. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I thought I would have beat my friend there, but he beat me to it. But anyway, it's not between me and him this morning. I just want congratulate the young lady and support her.
Thank
you.
Because
I have a daughter that went to college for 4 years and come back, and the same thing government did her. We have young ladies and young men on this island that went away to college and get a doctorate in their education, and they come and tell them they're not highly qualified. They got hire somebody from the Eastern Islands. They got a paper that shows that they're more qualified than you that went and spent 6 years in an institution to get a doctorate.
So is she currently employed in her the area that she studied for, or she still hasn't been able to?
She's employed in that area.
Okay.
But she can't get the position that she qualified for or that she's trying to get.
Mhm.
They gave it to a person of favor.
Okay.
Of favor, OC. And this is like what our young lady is saying. We are in a bind here, and everybody agree that with the government, what is the purpose of government issuing our people, our Cayman people, scholarships, and it means no good to the children when they come back. Young lady, I'm not trying to discourage you, because I hope that when you come back, God has something there for you.
He does.
But yeah, exactly. Thank you. But when government issue and during the times like a couple of days ago when we just had this new injection for the school system, all you can hear about scholarships with this, scholarships with that. But there's nothing there for Cayman people. And I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. Our Cayman people need to stand up, and it's not the old people. The young have to stand up and rise against these things that the foreign entities coming in here do not take away what is ours. Government give us a scholarship. They give us the right to have education, to get these jobs. Let's take these jobs and let's go home with them.
Caller, very quickly, did your daughter utilize the services where if she has applied for a position and it is not resolved in her favor, that there is a civil service appeal commission that is in place? Did she go through that process as well?
That is exactly what she's going through now.
No, okay.
She had everything, and that's exactly what
So,
she's struggling with now. So
let us know what the results of that appeal process will be, afterwards. Hopefully she'll be successful in that. Caller, thank you very much for that. We're going to try to grab our last caller because we want to have Miss Warren have the last say on For the Record this morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Jose, and welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 2 quick questions and then a comment. How was your break?
Excellent. Got a chance to just, relax, wind down, and everything came back feeling really, really, really rejuvenated or reinvigorated.
And the second question, what you bought for me?
Good wishes.
All right. I'll get to the comment now. Listen, we can talk all we want, but obviously, the people who is running this country, practically speaking, they're not from here. And they're looking out for their nationality in preference of Cayman. So, like the last caller said, unless we decide that we're going to demonstrate and flex the muscle, nothing is going to happen. Who can see it? I mean, we pushed by the wayside and that's it. They look at us like some sort of a zombie or something. And until we decide that we're going to hit the streets and do something, guys, nothing is going to happen. Have yourself a pleasant day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, caller, for that as well. We have lots of. This person says, "Good morning. I'm very proud to hear a young Caymanian expressing her views in such a confident way. It is sad, but it seems as though the educational arm of the portfolio of the civil service are not in sync when it comes to those who are on overseas scholarships. One would think that it would be logical thinking to look within current career areas versus those young Caymanians returning from those areas." Yeah. Again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're still a small population, of people. We should be, we know everybody's business otherwise when we want to know. Why don't we know the business of the young students who are coming back, as well? I'm going to hand the mic over to you and just read a few more comments that I have and see if I will air those off. In the meantime, want to give you an opportunity to respond to the WhatsApp message that came in relation to tourism and your views of tourism in the Cayman Islands, because the person is saying some people don't feel that cruise tourism nor stopover tourism are, the benefit of the Cayman Islands anymore. And what are your thoughts?
I think it'd be wrong to say that it is not in the best benefit of the Cayman Islands, just because tourism does bring in a substantial amount of money for Cayman. And still over tourism will provide a valid source of income for Caymanians, and it also has the opportunity to create more jobs. Are we doing it though? Is the question. And what was the rest of the question? Because I want to make sure I address it the right way.
Let me read it verbatim for you again.
Yeah.
So it says, there are voices now saying that we don't need cruise and stayover tourism and that it causes more harm than good. As a young Caymanian studying tourism, and we know that you're not really studying tourism per se, but it has some relationship to tourism. What are her thoughts? What are your thoughts about the stayover tourism and cruise tourism in terms of what it brings to the Cayman Islands? What benefits, if any?
It does offer benefits. Are Caymanians the ones that are receiving the benefits? Is more the question to ask, is are we the ones who are benefiting from the stayover tourism? There is opportunity for us to do so, but are we actually? I don't necessarily feel like that may be the case. Just because I know that there are people who work within tourism who sometimes find it difficult to even keep a job. Not only that, I wanted to touch on what the minister was asking me with regards to what we need to stand up for.
Yeah.
That would be, if you want to hear the list, would be Caymanians need to start standing up for things like minimum wage, jobs for Caymanians, price ceilings, price gouging, and cultural restoration and conservation. Because one thing with tourism is we could have so much money be made off of our culture, but it's not being done because Cayman is, I don't want to say it like that, but they're selling out Cayman. What do we actually have that is left to make money off of when it comes to our cultural background, our heritage? There's not much, but there's opportunity to do so. But are we making those efforts? I don't want to come to a generalization and say that we're not. But that's a conversation to be had with tourism, the Minister of Tourism himself. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to speak from just a practical standpoint because I've been thinking about it, ever since I spoke to you. And while it isn't tourism related, but your area of study isn't tourism related, but there are many events in the Cayman Islands. They may not be international, and some are international to a certain extent. I mean, for instance, we had Swanker Band just do a tour, a very successful tour of the United States. That is something that your area of study would be involved in. The Department of Tourism, they are involved in certain activities. They do sponsor certain activities as well. So again, when it comes to policy making, and stuff like that, that would be an area also. And I would see, to me, my view is that an internship within the Department of Tourism, because they have so many arms spread out. I think they also Pirates Week committee. Those a lot of things that fall under them. That some exposure in the Ministry of Tourism would be, and hopefully that's what Minister Brian's going to talk to you about. As well. But that would be an area that you would want to concentrate in.
Yeah, because Cayman, we have so much culture, but is it being conserved is my concern. Is it actually being conserved? I personally think it's not, because even when I was younger, I remember seeing like all those different things that happened around like Pirates Week and even K-Mas. Like there was so much more build up to it. Nowadays it's just like about drinking and palancing in the street, and there's so much more to it than that. And it's such great opportunity to capitalize off of as well, because generally around the globe, it's a really big thing right now that people really want to get into, even our parades and stuff. For instance, there's such great opportunity to capitalize off of that, but it's like, is that what we're focusing on? No, I think there's other things that they want to focus on, because let me not say it.
Okay, I've been reliably informed that Pirates Week doesn't fall under Minister Bryan. It falls under Culture and Heritage is a different ministry. But we know, of course, that when Pirates Week was first introduced, it was introduced through the Ministry of Tourism, because the intention then was to have something attractive in the off-tourism season.
Yeah.
For people to come to the Cayman Islands. So that was one of the reasons that why Pirates Week was created at that point in time, as well.
Which makes
folks,
sense.
Yep. Folks, if you're out there on the roads, we have been advised that police, fire, and emergency services have been called to the Spots Dock area to deal with a truck fire. 911 emergency has confirmed to Radio Cayman that the call came in this morning and a road closure is in effect. No other details are available at this time. If possible, plan to take the east-west arterial to avoid delays as well. Ms. Kaja, Warren, want to thank you very much for joining me in the studio this morning. Based on all of the feedback that we're receiving from our listeners and our viewers, they are happy to hear the voice of young Caymanians, instead of, old grouches like me being on the radio and complaining and talking. You are the future of the Cayman Islands, but it is also incumbent upon us to ensure that we pave the way for you to have a successful future here in the Cayman Islands, because you, I believe, have no other place to call home other than the Cayman Islands.
This is my home, and I'm here to be the voice for the younger people. So, we need to hear more voices like myself so that we get our message across, because there's people out there who think that, young Caymanians only care about a certain thing. That is not the case. We have such bigger pressing issues to address, and you need to hear it from a young person yourself, I guess, to know that that's what we're on about.
Okay, folks, gone way over, so no closing comments. Just want to remind you, join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury.
And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient.
Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman.